Alright guys, the time is now for a showdown between Norsca, who's going to be led by Throg the Troll King, the Lizardmen, who are going to be led by an Orange Sherbet Slan. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. And for anyone who's watching and doesn't understand the Slan reference, well essentially, I think a lot of people probably agree, but I feel like the Slan priest kind of looks like melted ice cream. Like if you just got like some orange sherbet ice cream and just like poured it into like a bowl, it would like fall and just look like a Slan. If you put like a couple dots and like an Aztec headdress on top of it, I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree. I'd love to hear a very lively discussion in the comment section below. But regardless, as far as the actual game goes, in the front line, I do have Marauder Champions, and this build is actually taken directly from my Norscan guide versus the dinosaurs. So, in the front line, it's going to be Marauder Champions, which are very good against the dinos. Number one, they have shields and they have decent armor. So against mass skinks and kiting builds, they're going to be stalwart, they're going to be durable, it's going to waste your opponent's ammunition. And on top of that, they beat Saurus. They're very good against Saurus warriors. They do well against Temple Guard simply because of their enrage mechanic and the fact that they play very well into the long game. So I think Marauder Champions are absolutely the way to go without the Grey Opens. So we have them in the front line, two Marauders on the flanks. These guys are going to be kind of screening and just chasing down skinks and just being annoying wherever they can. And yeah, that's it for the front line. So in total, I have 6 groups of infantry, I would say. 2 groups of the Marauder Hunters with javelins. Now, these guys are better than the throwing axes, in my opinion, because number one, they have better range. Their anti-large bonus is very solid, and they just apply more pressure. Whereas the throwing axes tend to get a little bit screened. They're easier to dodge the axes. I think it is, because the javelins seem much more direct and accurate than the throwing axes. So I think they're a little bit better than the throwing axes here. In the back, we have 2 of the Fimir with Grey Open. So these guys are the bread and butter of the build. They shut down big dinosaurs. They kill Bastillodons. They kill Krokar. They're just... Fimir are like the heart and soul of the Norscan roster, in my opinion. These guys are just so damn good. So we have 2 of these bad boys in the back ready to party. And for our leadership, we have Throg the Troll King, anti-large, armor piercing, definitely very good at hunting down fat toads. And yeah, he's got frostbite, but he is vulnerable to being focus fired here, especially with my opponent's build with the Bastillodons and the Skinks, so I have to be careful. Firecaster as well, Flaming Sword, Cascading Fire Cloak, and the Burning Skull. Pretty gangster stuff. And on top of that, last but not least, I do have 2 of the Norscan Ice Doggos. So I have one here in the forest and another one on the far side as well, which are just so good at chasing down the annoying chameleon skink. So that's pretty much it for my build. For my opponent, a very, very kite-heavy build. So in total, I think he has 4 chameleon skinks, which are going to be pretty annoying for sure. But again, Marauders are quite good against them. He has some calves, so Coldland Spear Riders, 2 groups on each side, which are anti-large, armor piercing. If timed correctly, if he can like get the Fimir fighting against like Marauder Champions, or fighting against like Saurus, and then he gets good rear charges with the Coldland Spear Riders into my Fimir, he can do pretty well, but definitely hard for the dinos to bring down the Fimir in my experience. His main infantry core is just going to be 3 Saurus, 2 Bastillodons with the solar engines, which actually do pretty well against Norscan infantry. But again, it's very micro-intensive. You have to be like scooting and shooting, and yeah, it's quite a bit of work for sure. But I guess he could snipe out Throg. They do fire damage, and Throg is of course weak to fire and has low armor. Orange Sherbet Slan, which is the high magic. Apotheosis, Hand of Glory, and he has a Blood Statuette of Spite, which is basically like a mini Buna type effect. And then he does also have the Aura Pretzel here, which is going to give melee attack and armor for 25 seconds. So pretty cool stuff. So guys, without further ado, oh, what's going on there, camera? Let's get the show on the road. Right now I'm going to be advancing. You can see that Throg is taking some heavy shots to the dome for sure. The Bastillodon's doing some work. Chipping away at him, it's not like doing like game-ending damage, but it's going to add up for sure, and definitely open some focus fire here. But the Norscan Ice Doggos are in the forest. They're going to be sweeping up and around, looking for opportunities to strike. But my opponent being very conservative and careful here, he has the Coldland Spear Riders waiting in the back. So as soon as I come up with the Doggos to try and strike, he countercharges with the Ice or the Spear Riders. So I basically just have to fall back. But this is kind of good because I wanted to bait him into the Marauders and countercharge. But yeah, you can see he just falls back there. The Troll King gets a little bit overextended because he is faster than the infantry, and I was trying to like catch my opponent and frostbite him, but yeah, good falling back. He's able to get some focus fire, just push Throg off, and definitely quite good. My other Norscan Ice Doggos are in the back, circling around the army, just looking for opportunities to collapse and pincer something and potentially, lock him up a little bit. But the rest of the champions are falling back. And my opponent obviously trying to optimize his kiting here. So the Skink's doing a bit of damage against the champs, but, they're running a little bit low on ammunition. A lot of them are at half here, 60%, so that's a pretty good little start for me. So he does send some Coldland Spear Riders after the dogs, which is a great trade. Now, even if they don't fight, I'm still taking these out of the battle for... My guys cost 650 against like his 800 or 900. I can't remember. Was it 1,000? Anyways, he does charge in with the Coldland Spear Riders, trying to catch my dogs, but I do countercharge with the Fimir. And then this is the classic Norscan trap. The Norscan Ice Wolves are going to turn around. They're going to go after the Coldland Spear Riders, and now they're frostbitten, and their speed is 27. So I can just drag them through the mud here. You can see the Norscan Doggos are chasing. The Flaming Sword of Ruin is going down. I use the Marauders to then screen out the Chameleon Skinks and make sure they can't poke my dogs. And the other Marauder Champions are coming in. I also have my Fimir who will be piling in just a moment. For some reason, they dropped their orders, which is a little bit annoying. But the, I don't know, I probably screwed up, but it felt like, yeah, I could have sworn I told them to attack. But anyways, they're going to come in here. The Norscan Champions still fighting, and yeah, they're going to start clubbing some of these big dinosaurs off their mounts here, which should be pretty cost effective for me. I'll probably be able to wipe out these two groups, especially since there's Marauder champions taking the brunt of the fighting. The two groups of javelins up on the high ground were just kind of throwing spears at the big Bastillodons in the back line. They're the only dinosaurs worth killing, really. And down here, I'm able to screen out his Coldland Spear Riders with my Marauders and allow my dogs to just get full, just balls deep into these Chameleon Skinks, and they're just going to be feasting on those guys, which is one of the most gratifying feelings in the game for sure. And Marauder champions in the front line fighting pretty hard, doing well against the Dinos. Throg takes a massive amount of damage though. My opponent gets some really good focus fire. He has his Bastillodons. All of his Skinks just been Overwatch here, and you can see Throg just gets dumpstered. Partially because I did let the Coldland Spear Riders do a little bit too much damage. And the Famir I was using very defensively to protect the Spear Hunters in the back, but I will be pushing them in. You can see the Orange Sherbet Slan a little bit out of position. But Marauder champions, as we expected, doing very good in the front line. They're going to just spank these Saurus Warriors. Their combat stats are just so much better, and they have the Enrage mechanic, so they're going to get melee attack, physical resist. It's a really good matchup for Marauder champions with the Sword and Shield. But he still does have both Bastillodons online, which is a little bit tough. He's sniping out Throg. Throg is just going down about 1200 HP, but he's going to break off. There's no dinos to really chase me, so Throg is just going to run into the sunset and probably come back, which will be really good. Champs in the front line, getting through, 28 kills here, 25 on these guys, but again, he's had some supporting elements with his high magic. And the javelins I'm just throwing in here. I did get the ice doggos over here in the back that I was attacking the Skinks with, and I detached them because I didn't want Throg to die, so I used the Norscan Ice Wolf to temporarily shut down this Bastillodon, but he does come in with the Coldland Spear Riders to eventually, actually shut those guys down. Over here went really well. I was able to just beat the brakes off those Coldland Riders, so you can see these victorious champions as well as my Famir Warriors, who did take a bit of damage against those, but they actually didn't lose any models. They're going to be piling up, so now I have some much needed reinforcements here in the front line. The Javelin's just repositioning, trying to do any damage I can to the Bastillodons. My Firecaster is here as well. He's in pretty good shape, just keeping him in the back so he doesn't get sniped. And I also have Throg coming back. So Throg does heal. He's a troll. You can see he's going to be regenerating. Probably will be back up to 1400 HP by the time he gets back to this fight. But the champs are slowly winning, so it's really nice to have that kind of guaranteed value there where I know I can rely on my champions in the front line, so I just have to micro the other things in the battle effectively. But these Famir are going to be pushing up and through, going after this Bastillodon. This group of Famir Warriors here is going to be clubbing this guy, who does actually have cold blood, so that lowers his own combat stats to 0 and 5 temporarily, so we got some good work in there. You can see the Orange Sherbet Slan getting in there, which is a little bit dangerous, especially considering the Troll King is back on the hunt. The bounce bar is pretty even at this point, a little bit in my favor, I would say, because of the front line, but the Coldland Spear Riders piling in, so this is a pretty good engagement. The Famir Warriors are a little bit surrounded, and they don't have the best leadership. The Chameleons are poisoning them, kind of wasting some of their attacks here. That guy just punted that little gecko there. Oh man, that was pretty funny. But you can see we're shaken, so we're actually having to pull back right here. Good play from my opponent, utilizing his Skinks and his Coldland Riders that he does have left, but unfortunately for him, the champions are just pushing through. They're now going to be fighting Skinks. The other group of champions led by the Shaman Sorcerer coming in. Throg is back up to 1263, so about 1300. My prediction was a little bit off. And the other Javelin's just giving me that constant pressure. We're actually able to really burn down that Bastillodon. It's at negative leadership. And yeah, they've really paid their dues this game for sure. But Throg's coming for that melted ice cream booty. He's just going to club that Slan Priest. The Slan Priest, of course, is a large, thick boy. So the bonus first large from Throg is going to do a ton of damage. He does pop the Aura Pretzel here, which is going to get melee defense and armor. But Throg is definitely in his element right now. He's just unleashing all of that fury from the rest of the game here. Marauder champions are going to be coming back as well from the periphery. There are some Coldland Spear Riders, but for the most part, I have a massive numbers advantage here. The Marauder Hunters actually aren't terrible in melee. They also have 28 weapon strength. So against Coldland Spear Riders who don't have a good stat line against non-large targets, they're going to be okay. But they're throwing some spears. They're in guard mode, so hopefully they'll perform. The Famir Warriors over here are also going to be clubbing this big Bastillodon, so yeah, doing some really good work. And I have some doggos coming back, 14 models. They're going to be chasing off the other Bastillodon, trying my best, but there are some, the Bastillodon will probably win that engagement. But if you look, the main line is just an absolute crunch. The Orange Sherbet Slan just melted in the sun of Throg, and we were able to just clean up that main line. So at this point, it's pretty much over, and my opponent's going to get slammed with army losses. So well played, definitely fun. Yeah, and that Norscan build is tried and true. That's, again, it's from my Norscan guide, which I put out a couple months ago, and I tried it against a lot of Lizardmen players, all levels of play, and it's been very effective. Now, if somebody knew it was coming, they could obviously find a way to defeat it, but I feel like it's really strong. Champs in the front line, you got answers for dinosaurs. If they go Massaurus, you have plenty of answers. Like, you have a lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty good. You got Throg for anti-large. You got the Javelins for anti-large. The Famir in case they go with like Croc. If they go with like Croc and Saurus Scarvet builds, you can definitely win with Throg and the two Famirs plus the Javelins. It's really hard for them to shine there. Now, I wonder if like a Dino build using, I feel like there's some like experimental Dino builds that could be pretty good. Like, let me do some insane theory crafting right now. Maybe like Temple Guard, because Temple Guard have really good AP and good like sustained combat stats against the champs. I don't know how they would do though. I feel like the champions are a little bit cost effective there. Yeah, so maybe Temple Guard would be the way to go in the main line. I do like the Slan because he's definitely pretty cost effective and it's hard for me to like snipe him out. Mazda Menu would be pretty good with Banishment and Ruination as well against my Javelins and stuff. But Yeah, I don't know. The Cold One Spear Riders definitely did okay in some aspects, but again, they also got like caught out in that Norscan trap. So I guess there was a couple of things that went a little bit wrong that could have changed the tide of the game. But I felt like most of the engagements were just going so well that it was tough for the Dinos to deal with that. So maybe the double Skink Chief is pretty good as well. But again, Javelins are really good against Skink Chiefs. Like they're accurate. They have anti-large against the flying Skink Chiefs. I'd have to think about that a little bit. Maybe I'll get back to you guys. I'll try and find someone to play this Norsca build, and I'll try and find a Lizardmen build that's pretty good against it. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Very well played in my opponent, South Sea Company. And guys, we will be back with more content soon. Have an excellent night and take care.